They want you to do portrait.
Do it want me to be this way? They want me to go up, huh?
Yeah, I want you to go up. We go, fam. We got it. We got it.
Okay. I tried to do my phone a
This one.
different way, but it won't let me. Oh, come on.
You continue. Just calm down. Take it slow. You got it. You got it. So I said, don't rush.
Sorry, you said hi.
So this one, it'll tell me everything that's going on. Hello.
Oh, that's why I like
guys.
that.
Are you? We ready to go?
Ready to go.
All right.
I want to what I want to do with this camera right here is scoot this over a little bit more right there. Yeah. Now I feel happy. I feel happy.
Now you feel happy. All right. There we go. All right, Marie. I know, Marie, you like to wait till somebody come into the room first.
I do.
Before we get
started.
So,
I think that's important. Even if it's, you know me, even if it's one person.
Yes. Put up your brightness. Oh yeah. Just
like swipe down.
Yeah, swipe down and just do a little brightness, turn it up so you can see here just a little better. Very good. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Got you. Hello, we got a viewer here.
Hi guys.
Happy Online Friday. All right, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get started. Hey, you wanna?
That's the bell. We might as well let the bells hit.
You let the bell go. All right.
Let it go.
So is it done? You think it's done?
It's done.
All right, very good. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. Let me bring y'all in right. So, hey, Unwinders. Welcome to Unwind Friday. It's your girl, Lissa Black, bringing you the heat with a little street.
And it's your girl, Marie, certified life and health coach, bringing you tools you can use. So get your wine, your tea, your coffee, whatever it is that you use to unwind on a long week on a Friday, and join us for this awesome topic that we are bringing this Friday.
Yes, so we are so excited. We have an awesome topic for you guys tonight in an informative way. You guys do not want to miss this topic. If you have kids, if you are a grandparent, if you have nieces, if you have nephews, go tag your friends because you do not want to miss this topic. So today's topic is going to be 8 ways anxiety shows up in children as something else. So we're going to show you how to identify those things, corrective actions for those things, because we want to know when that's happening with our children so we don't become frustrated and make that thing worse than what it is. But before we get into this topic, Marie?
Before we get into this topic, I would like to ask you guys, did you complete your action steps from the prior weeks? If any, the 557, expressing yourself to somebody, living in your freedom, saving your money, you know what I'm saying? Doing your 557 breathing techniques to help you with anxiety and just calming you down. Things like that. Yes. Are you doing any of your action steps that I have left you with the last prior weeks? Because that's important. That's important for us. Comment below and let us know. We want you to build these tools. When I leave you with these tools, I want you to really be using them because they are very, very, they work and they can really help you just become better in your life. And we call ourselves sisters edifying, because we come every week to edify you. And edify means to build you up, to teach, to guide, to encourage. So it's important that you're leaving every week edified
in some way or form. Very good. And if you stick around to the end, if you don't know what we're talking about when we say your action steps, at the end of every live and every topic, we give you an action step that ties into the topic that we have discussed in that Unwind Friday. Those steps are created to help you stay on task, to keep that as an anchor so that you can begin to work on that thing if you have already not worked on it, or if it's something that in your life that you can work on and become better.
That's true. Melissa, I see you got a ponytail.
Yeah. All right, y'all. So let's talk about these ponytails, y'all. So I came with my ponytail, and Marie had her bun. So, honey, it is Ponytail Friday.
Ponytail Friday. Clearly, we didn't feel like doing anything without her this Friday or both of us. She just threw hers in the big fluffy ponytail.
Yes.
I just threw mine in the small puffy bun. She has really thick hair. My hair is not that thick and long like that. I mean, it's a nice slip. It's long, but it's not that long.
Right. So I mean, y'all, like she said, it was like one of those things. I'm like, you know what? I'm not dealing today, so we gon'.
But y'all can't see we got our own hair. Period.
Natural. Come on, natural hair.
But before we get started, let us tell you what we're sipping on wine with.
Here we go.
So I have some Grand Traverse Select Sweet Traverse wine. It's from Traverse City in Michigan. We always stick with our Michigan wine. And Melissa, what do you have over there?
I have my classic, my go-to. One of our viewers, Nora, my cousin, put me on to this. I'll come in a little closer for you. Guys, this is some good wine. It gets the job done, honey. And it is just sweet enough so that you can enjoy it. It's not too bitter. It's not too sweet for me. And it's one of my go-to.
You know me, I love a red wine. You like a white wine.
You know,
so we have two different wines. I love a red wine. She likes a white wine. And I like mine to be either semi-sweet or dry. I can drink a dry wine. Dry wines keep the calories off. And you know a girl like me is trying to watch her calories.
Yes, guys. And speaking of calories, honey, I've been watching mine too. But let's get into this topic, guys. 8 ways a child anxiety shows up as something else. Let's talk about it. So when you think of a child anxiety or anxiety in itself, I want you guys to think of an iceberg, right? In an iceberg, you only see the tip of that iceberg. But underneath that iceberg, there's a whole lot more going than you could ever imagine, right? So let's talk about it. So when you think about anxiety, I want you to think about an iceberg, right? Especially in children, because tonight our topic is going to focus on children specifically.
Because it's important that we think about edifying and building ourselves up, but it's important that we edify and build our children up too.
Absolutely.
A lot of people leave the children out, but they have emotions. They go through things just because they might not be paying bills and things like that, but they're going through things on their own, and they're going, and it's important that we pay attention to it and we make sure that they are built up and that they're at their best also.
Absolutely. So let's talk. We're going to talk about the iceberg diagram, right? So on top of that iceberg diagram, we're going to talk about what we see and what it truly is, right? So we'll see it manifest itself as anger, sleep issues, defiance, lack of focus, over planning, avoidance, negativity. So all these things, suddenly you say, like, my cow, he's just so negative now. He's just so angry. He's chandeliering. Chandeliering is...
Oh, he's going through puberty.
Yeah, or maybe going to... Or he's just a teenager. And we brush those things off and we push them aside. But do you know your child could really be suffering from anxiety? A lot of things people don't know about anxiety is that it's hereditary. I'm going to say that again. Anxiety is hereditary. So if you suffer from anxiety, it could be a good chance your child may suffer from anxiety. And ways you can help, we're going to tell you tonight. So,
Absolutely.
The first one is going to be difficulty sleeping, right? Anxiety and sleep, the relationship is like a chicken and an egg. You got a chicken, they're most likely going to have an egg, right? So when you have anxiety and your mind is racing and those things are happening, the chances of you sleeping is going to be slim to none, right? So research has shown that anxiety can lead to sleep disorders, chronic sleep disruption, and it can lead to children having difficulty falling asleep and staying asleep. So you got that kid that's like, they're trying to find any reason why they can't sleep, or they tossing and turning all night, or they get up and they, or even if they fall asleep, they don't sleep long, they get back up. It could be anxiety.
And that can really mess with their schoolwork, how they think, their grades, everything. That's why it's important for us to recognize and be aware of these signs. That's why we're bringing this to you, because it's important. Because a lot of times if a kid is not getting the proper sleep, then they can't focus enough to get good grades at school,
Yeah.
And then that will lead to Number two,
Number two.
anger.
Yes.
So anger, the link between anger and anxiety is under research area. You know what I'm saying? A lot of manifest, you might have kids who've had anger manifest out the blue and they're just being really angry and you're like, what is wrong with this kid? That can be a sign of anxiety, but they don't understand it because they haven't recognized it. That's why it's important for us as a parent to recognize anxiety, signs of anxiety, because sometimes people think, oh, he just acting out. Oh, in some community, oh, he crazy, this, and that.
Yeah.
No, he could be suffering from anxiety, and we need to address that so
Definitely.
that he can be the best person that he can be. So here are some hypotheses as why there's a link between anger and anxiety. Anxiety occurs when there is overestimation of perceived threat, a test or something, like test anxiety. I have it. Kids have it, and an underestimation of coping skills. I can't handle this. When our kids are chronically or excessively worried and don't feel like they have skills to manage anxiety, they feel helpless. Helpless leads to frustration, which can show in anger. So anger and anxiety are also both activated in the threat center of our brain. When the brain perceives threat, the amygdala, what's that part of the brain? I know it too. I'm gonna say it wrong. It's
The amygdala.
the amygdala
It's
gland.
like the amygdala abugula. Like it's just that.
The
It's
amygdala gland in your brain, the dollar. I'm gonna do it short. The hood, the amygdala gland, a small almond-shaped gland. It's like a cluster of neuron in the brain. Activates the flight response, which floods your body with hormones to make you stronger and faster. This genetic wisdom protects you from threats and danger because anger and anxiety are both activated in the same brain region, and it don't know the difference between danger or fight. So that's what the kid going to when they start feeling like I'm not safe or I can't do this. They go into fight because the body doesn't recognize the difference between it, so they go into that. So it's important to recognize
right.
that.
So and anger, like because and I feel like in that reading, it kind of focused on those school age kids, but also notice that in your smaller kids because they too can go off your feelings. They too can show anxiety, and they'll show it just in different ways, in the home ways. Like for an example, when I was reading that, I had what Marie would call a aha moment. And I'm like, wow, you know what? I think my child may have anxiety in some form because suddenly he'll lash out and he'll when we'll ask him a question, he'll get like really defensive. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute.
And his dollar.
Madala,
his little almond dollar.
And I'm like, whoa, what's going on there? But that is a good thing. So anger is one of those things. Watch out for it. Be aware of it. Don't get angry too. I know it's easier than said than done, but think about that.
Have the patience
Is that
to try to
anxiety?
understand.
What's really wrong? Look for that underlying thing. Could this be anxiety? Is this his way of showing that something else is going on here? And the next, that brings us to number 3, defiance. There is nothing more frustrating to a child with anxiety than feeling like he is out of control, right? So then he will do that in unexpected ways. For an example, if you say, here's this orange cup. Nope, I want the blue cup because the blue cup is my favorite cup. Or they doing different things because they want to be in control. Because they feel like they're anxious and now I'm out of control. I don't have control of my life. I don't have control of anything. All right, there we go. All right, so we are back. So let's talk about chandeliering.
So number 4 for recognizing anxiety in children is Childern. YouTube. I don't know how long that it disconnected. We just can't get right with YouTube, but we will one day get right with it. So I don't know if it paused or exited out, but every week, like I said, we will get better. We are amateurs becoming pros.
Right. So number 3 was defiance. If you missed that, and just watch out for those signs of red. Like I give you an orange cup, you want a blue cup. That's what number 3 was.
Yes. And so number 4 is, we borrowed this term from renowned social scientist Brent Brown. Childern is when a seemingly calm person suddenly flies off the handle for no reason. In reality, like how like Will Smith did kind of.
He was chandeliering. That is a
Yes.
good
They
example.
have pushed hurt and anxiety so deep for so long that a seemingly innocent comment or event suddenly seems to send them straight through the chandelier. A child who goes from calm to full blown tantrum without a reason is often ill equipped to talk about their anxiety and tries to hide it instead. You know what I'm saying? After days and weeks of feeling normal for them, um, it just surfaces out the blue because they're feeling an emotion that they don't understand.
Yeah.
And as a parent, we should teach them to understand. And me, chandeliering, when I read on chandeliering, I wish I would have had that when we talked about Will Smith last
Right,
week.
because you know, you don't think
Because
about
it's
chandelier. That's
perfect.
perfect because that is a perfect term for what happened there. He
What
absolutely
happened to him?
chandelier.
It totally
'Cause
makes me understand when I read that.
Yeah, because everybody expected him to be calm or passive, and he's always
But he
been
had
this
spent so much
amazing.
time holding
Yes.
everything in that he just went through
Yeah.
straight through the chandelier. So sometimes everybody know, a lot of people be like, oh, that's terrible twos or terrible threes, or
Yes.
oh, when your kid go just off, they're experiencing an emotion that they don't understand.
Yes.
And because a lot of us don't have the knowledge, you know, the Bible said, you know, a lack of those with lack of knowledge perish. So it's important that we equipped ourselves with the knowledge to help our kids be as successful as they can be. And that's understanding that young kids, toddlers to young kids to teenagers to young adults suffer with anxiety just like us adults do. And if we recognize it young, we can help them conquer it so they don't have to go through a lot of things that we suffered through, you know?
Right, exactly. So this next one is very, very important.
And it happens to a lot of
and
kids.
it happens to a lot of kids. It happens especially in our community, right? So listen to this one. Number 5, lack of focus. Do you guys know, according to the Centers of Disease, 6.1 million children are diagnosed with attention deficient hyperactivity disorder. So attention deficient hyperactivity disorder. You guys may all know this is ADHD. How many of our children have been diagnosed with ADHD? And imagine us diagnosing or letting our children being diagnosed with ADHD
When they're suffering from anxiety.
when they're suffering from anxiety. Do you guys know that ADHD and anxiety have overlapping symptoms? It can all manifest as the same thing. So it's very important to be able to identify those two things. So when you hear that, you're like, nope, let me figure that out. So now, because a kid can be so caught up in their thoughts, especially with anxiety, because often, even with adults, when you have anxiety, you are more focused on your thoughts. You're trying to get that thing under control. You whatever it is that's bothering you, you're thinking about that. You're trying to get it under control. You're trying to figure out what happened. So even a kid can be so caught up in their thoughts that they lose focus. They don't hear what you have said, or they just not paying attention. And then we'll go off and let them be diagnosed with ADHD when it's really simply anxiety. So paying attention to those kids and paying attention to those different signs and thinking about those other things like chandeliering, anger, lack of sleep. If you begin to watch your child and pay attention, you will probably find out, is that ADHD or is that a sign of anxiety?
And that's so true. And guys, since we went over, I just want you guys, somebody to comment. Do you have any of these, you know, symptoms that we have said so far? Do you recognize that in any of your children? Do you feel like any of your children are suffering from anxiety? Yes. Have any of your children show any of these symptoms that we have so far talked about?
And just in case you didn't know, or if you just joined us, difficulty sleeping, anger, defiance, chandeliering. And for those who don't know what chandeliering is, it's somebody who suddenly flies off the handle. They're calm, and then boom, they explode. Lack of focus. And then number 6.
And number 6 is avoidance. So anxiety in kids can display in avoidance. And avoidance could be a kid who they don't want to go to family events they don't want to be around, so they avoid things. They avoid their own family who they should be comfortable with and stay in their room. That can be a lack of anxiety. They avoid tasks because they don't know how to do them, but they don't know how to express to you that they don't know how to do them. Like me, for instance, let me give you an example. When I was younger, I had difficulty with math. So I was ashamed that I had difficulties with math. So I would avoid it and I wouldn't talk to anybody because it gave me anxiety to have to go ask somebody and tell them, hey, I don't know what 5 times 8 is. You know, I need
Yeah.
help with this. So that's what avoided. So if you have a kid who's avoiding a lot and or staying locked in their room, avoiding you, avoiding their siblings, avoiding going outside when they should be having the best time of life, they could be suffering with anxiety.
Yes. And it's very good when you say that they don't like sometimes they don't even know and those things that in regular life you just like I don't want to ask that because you afraid of the backlash that you may get.
Yeah.
And that in itself can cause anxiety.
It's
You
true.
can
Especially if you have a parent who don't understand and feel like you should know this.
Yes.
You should know this. I just want to let y'all know, like I was, because I grew up in a family, well, not of families, because I don't want to put my whole family in, but with my mother didn't know how to teach. She didn't have the patience to teach certain things, and so she would chandelier, and that's just true. So like when she was teaching, she would just chandelier if we got the answers wrong. I had anxiety, and it caused me to avoid having to ask her because I didn't want to get I already didn't know how to do it. I needed more attention than more kids did to learn certain tasks, and my mother didn't have the patience to teach me. Don't be that patient, that parent. If you are that parent, allow somebody else to teach your kid, maybe another sibling, maybe your mate. Like
Yeah.
Antoine, I wasn't allowed to teach my kids certain things because of what I went through as a child. But he had more patience to teach our kids like their ABCs or their early math skills and things like that. Until I got like the counseling and stuff that I needed to teach my own children
Yeah.
without having that anger, that flying off the handle for no
Right.
reason because, oh, I told you already.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're one of those people who can't teach your kids right now, don't.
Right. If that's not for you, like you
Yeah.
said, it's not a good idea to do it
Hire a
because
counselor. If you can't
it
hire a
instills
counselor,
fear.
ask somebody in the community. Well, in Saginaw, my church home, Holy Communion Gospel Center, they had a program that they started over. They brought all of us kids in and they did tutoring with us. And there's after school programs
Yeah.
that do tutoring that'll help the kids. Like out here, one program I did coaching out, Mirror Me Inc., who have all the young kids there. Beautiful people that's there volunteering, that's willing to help the kids if you can't help them, because it's better to outsource them than to
Then to basically damage them or
damage
traumatize
them
them.
when they're
Let's
already
be
dealing
honest.
with
Let's call it what it
anxiety.
is.
Yes.
So speaking of damaging and traumatizing, that will bring us to number 7, negativity. From a neurological standpoint, um, people with anxiety tend to experience negative thoughts much greater than positive ones, right? So then we always think of them as being like downers because negative thoughts seem to take faster hold than positive thoughts. So those are those people that say, even in adults, those are the people who seem negative. You're like, they negative, or they always saying something like that's not friendly or something negative. But those could be people who suffer from anxiety, and especially with children. The thing with that, with the negativity, is they haven't found out a way to first identify a negative thought and then to turn it into a positive one. So, because they have not had the ability to identify that and they're thinking more negative than positive, they'll tend to say things negatively or they'll react to things and make it negative even if it's a positive. So, you'll say something to them and they're like, "What?" Yeah, you're like, "Whoa, wait a minute, calm down. I was just saying.
Yeah.
I just wanted to help you." So that is very important to if that person always saying negative, your kid always saying negative, always saying down, always seem like they're turning negative positives into negatives. It can be anxiety.
Anxiety. Absolutely. So, guys, comment and let us know if you think that if any of your kids are suffering from anxiety and things like that, because we want you to if you can't help them, get them the help that they need to be successful.
Mhm.
Why make them wait until a lot of us wait until we was old enough to find out what it was, when we can give them the tools to be great right now, the tools to deal with it, natural tools to deal with it. And we will go over some natural tools. So number 8 is over planning. If you have a kid, if you plan an event, even if you plan their birthday party and they want to know who's going to be there, is this person going to be there? Is that person going to be there? How we're going to do it? If they just want to know and they're over planning, they're just setting everything up, they could be suffering from anxiety because
They trying to get ready for the unknown.
they're trying to get ready for the unknown, so they want to know every step of your details. Like they just need to know if you plan like a party for them and they're like, who did you invite? Who's coming? Or if you plan a holiday dinner, who do you invite? Who's coming? What am I going to wear? What are you going to wear? This and that. They're trying to just plan because they're trying to prevent that feeling, which they probably don't even recognize as anxiety of, embarrassment, being uncomfortable or self-esteem things. That could be anxiety. So
yes. So
make sure that you recognize that. So we would like to just go back over the 8. You'll go back over the 8.
Absolutely. So to summarize, the topic is 8 ways child anxiety shows up as something else. So these are those 8 ways. Number 1 is going to be difficulty sleeping. So it's difficulty falling to sleep and staying asleep. Then number 2 is going to be anger. They just angry about everything. They lashing out. Everything just seems negative. And then defiant. They're going to be frustrated. Anxiety can cause defiance. They're like, nope, I'm not doing it. Nope. And you're like, why are they saying defiant suddenly? That can be a sign of anxiety. 4, chandeliering. Chandeliering is someone who seems calm and then suddenly they just lash out.
Fly off the handle.
Fly off the handle.
Fly through the chandelier.
A good example, like Marie used earlier, was Will Smith. He always seemed so calm and then he just flew off the handle. Number 5 is going to be lack of focus. Again, so many of us have written this off as ADHD or some other attention deficit, but it really can be anxiety because they're so caught up in their thoughts that they cannot focus on what's going on around them. So lack of focus. Number 6 is going to be avoidance. They're avoiding things. They don't want to be involved. They want to kind of stay to themselves. Number 7, negativity. Negative thoughts tend to take hold faster than positive thoughts. And people are always think maybe they're a downer or they're turning everything negative. They're being very negative.
Oh, they're just being negative. When it could just be anxiety and they don't know what it is.
Anxiety. Number 8 is going to be over planning. That child is like, hey, we're having a party. Who's going? Who's going to be there? What are you going to wear? What can we give them? The gifts. That child is prepping for the unknown. They're trying to get themselves ready because they are anxious about what might be. And a lot of time, anxiety is one of those things of what we think is going to happen, right? It's never what has happened. It's always what we think will happen.
Because anxiety is basically living in the future.
It is. We live in the future. Or
sometimes living in the past.
Yes.
Because a lot of times if you want to prevent anxiety, it's to live in the present.
In the right now.
So now that we went over those.
Yes. So you want to talk about natural ways. But another thing I wanted to just point out again, when you think of anxiety, think of an iceberg. Think of all the things that you do see, like especially for your children, what you're seeing, that anxiety, that anger, that lack of focus, that chandeliering, that lack of, that inability to sleep. That's what's at the top. But at the bottom, there's much more embarrassment, helplessness, hurt, ashamed. They're being overwhelmed. They have regret. They have all those different things in at the bottom of that. So think about
put that closer so they kind of see.
Yeah.
Next time we'll probably do a PowerPoint.
We'll do a PowerPoint so you can see that iceberg. I'll put it up there,
see it on the other
and then I'll bring it over here so you guys can see that iceberg and what that looks like when you think of anxiety.
And in children.
And
in children.
And anyone too. I would say in anyone.
And anyone, but I want to focus on the children because we always focus on everybody. Always focus on adult, but we always leave the kids out like they just these perfect beings, but they're nothing but little human beings.
And they go off what's going on in the house or product of your environment.
Because the thing is, if you're suffering from anxiety, you're it's like you we said in the
It's
anxiety is
hereditary.
you can cause your kids to suffer anxiety. They go off our emotions too,
They
so it's
do.
important. So some natural ways you can help your kids with anxiety is, for one, recognizing that they're going through anxiety.
Yes.
Recognizing the signs that we just gave you, the 8 signs, and there's probably more, but we don't want to go too long.
Yes.
The 8 signs that we gave you that they're going through anxiety, and having patience with them and helping them recognize when they go through an anxiety.
And reassurance. I say reassurance.
Absolutely.
Saying to them exactly what's happening, what the consequences will be. Or just saying, like, because I know, for an example, even my own child, like I said, I'm not perfect. He said, you know what, Mom, when you say that, and I love that he communicated with me that like this, because I try to communicate with him like this. Mom, when you look at me that way, I feel like you're gonna whoop me. If you do that, I feel like you're gonna whoop me. And I'm like, look, I'm never gonna surprise you. Anything gonna happen, I'm gonna tell you before it happens. And he go, oh, okay. And I'm so
and another, and communication.
Yes, communication.
Because a lot of people think that we should, because they're kids, we shouldn't have to communicate. No, communicating with your kids, give them comfort about everything that's going on in the household, even if it's something bad that's going on, even if a bill can't be paid. Just always keeping an open communication with a kid and being honest with them.
Because they see it, guys.
They know.
Even though
we don't tell them, but they know.
They know.
And they feel our emotions. They know when we're sad. They know. They come to us, are you sad? And just being, and honesty. Honesty is another one.
Yeah.
Being honest with your little ones. And let me tell you another thing that I do. Now, I have my little one, when she gets overexcited, when she's talking to people, she starts, and I say, calm down, Taylor, and breathe. Yeah. I know you guys always hear. You guys don't hear me on every
breathe
episode we do.
Gotta breathe.
I tell Taylor, okay, Taylor. She gets overexcited. She's trying to explain something to me, and my oldest daughter does the same thing. Stop, slow down, breathe. Now tell mommy what you want to tell me. And then they stop and they slow down, breathe. So just bringing them in the present moment and stopping them and slowing them down. Breathe. Now tell me. And if you notice kids having anger, don't be, oh, they're just a teenager. No, communicate. Find out what's wrong. What are your feelings? What are you feeling right now? It's because I think with kids, it's all about communicating with them because they feel so misunderstood.
Yeah.
So understanding is the main key. So as we end tonight, my action step for everyone who watched this video is to take the time first to recognize and to pay attention if your kids have any of the signs any of the 8 signs, if you recognize any of those 8 signs, and then to have patience with them and then communicate with them about their feelings, what they're feeling, and help them from there. And if their situation cannot be helped naturally, find somebody who can help them if you can. A counselor, a kid counselor, art therapy.
That's the action step.
That's the out therapy. Just paying attention to the action step is paying attention to the signs that your children have and then communicating them in a different way that you have been communicating with them.
Very good. So guys, with that being said, thank you so much for joining us for this Unwind Friday. Please do us a favor, like and share. Join our YouTube, because subscribe to our YouTube, because ultimately that is the goal, to get you guys all migrated on one platform so we don't have to do 2 every week.
So you guys that's on Facebook, because we are on 2 platforms right now, please click on our YouTube link, subscribe, like, share. These are very important topics. Drop us a topic that you want us to talk about. Comment, please let us know if your kids are going through anything. If you have any questions, ask us so that we can answer back. Because as a life coach, I have a bunch of tools in my special chest that I have, my heart chest. Tools you can use that I can share with you that could help your kid if you're going through something, you recognize that they are going through anxiety. Please utilize the platform we have from our hearts set up to edify you, and not only you, but your children, your spouses, because we love you.
Share this. You can help somebody else. And before I go, I always say this, guys. Drop the topic. We will do the research for you and bring it before you. So it's nothing you have to do. If it's something you want to talk about, you drop the topic, we will do it all, and we'll bring it to you on the next Unwind Friday. We will see you guys next week.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us.
Bye.